love! Surprise live from the car, from the air conditioning angle, so that our phone doesn't overheat. Hi, loves. So, I want to talk to you about something that is not necessarily astrologically inclined as much as it is about what's happening in our world. And we're going to talk some more tonight, hopefully with Gary, because we have soul readings with Gary. But the thing that I want to talk to you about is the shit that's happening in the world, right? It's got a lot of people with like heavy hearts and like blowing minds, not like short-circuiting, not really being able to understand and to grasp how to process, right, the situation. So here's the thing. What I'm going to say, it's not really easy to digest, okay? Nature of what it is, to tell the truth. But there's a lot of attacks right now that are happening with celebrities, with people that are in places of having influence. A lot of people that are like throwing out their anger and their judgments and their things. Yes, I'm doing a live on the freeway. There's people that want to talk to us. We're going to pass them. So, here's what's going on. There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of feelings exchanged. There's a lot of like entanglement that's happening. And there's a lot of hate on people. The next layer, so I'm going to shortcut this for you, okay? The next layer is you're going to find out that it's not their fault. You're going to find out that it's not our place to judge. This is really hard because when you figure out, oh my God, all of these celebrities are doing all these things to the children, and it's like this movement of saving the children and like the trafficking and, you know, the sex slavery and whatever not. What you don't know, okay, what is not talked about is the threats that are made on their lives, okay? Once you get lured in to the Hollywood machine, there are severe threats that happen on your life unless you comply. These are threats that have to do with families, with your kids, with like all of that. So a lot of these people all of a sudden got into a contract without even really understanding. It's kind of like to throw it into a level of what we can understand, right? It's when the software updates on your fucking phone and it's like software so-and-so is getting installed, right? And you're just like, sure, whatever, we got to do a software install. Do you actually go read word by word all the things that are happening on your phone, what your phone is spying you on with, what, you know, kind of cookies, what kind of privacy policy, what kind of creepy shit's happening on your phone? Like, you don't actually read it. I don't actually read it, right? So, like, it's kind of the same thing, and maybe you do, kudos if you do, but there's like a lot in there. What I'm saying is sometimes we don't realize what we got into until something happens, and that's just the nature of being incarnate in a human body. So don't throw your anger out at the people. Instead, heal the wounds, practice not judgment. And instead of using negative emotions towards these celebrity or these people that are doing things, okay, send healing. This is where we get to transmute. Send healing, send love. Visualize all of this situation being resolved. Visualize the truth coming out at its core, okay? So you know how a lot of us in the community, a lot of people right now are dealing with family curses. Where do you think these curses come from that are in your bloodline? Like, I'm gonna take off my glasses and look at you. The bloodline, okay, clearings, the curses, the shit that happens like that. That's the shit these guys are doing that right now, right? The people that are in Hollywood, the people that are in the spotlight, the people that are entering into these agreements and they're doing that stuff, they're getting into more of these karmic contracts, curses for their families, like that kind of stuff. And, okay, it's really bright. I can't really look at you. But the point is, we're clearing what came through our bloodline, okay? They have to deal with their shit. And it's so easy to judge and to hate people when we don't understand the full circumstances. I'm not condoning and I'm not saying it's okay at all. I'm saying that hating on people is not helpful. because you're still spewing out from your heart. You're spewing out negative emotions into the collective conscious and unconscious, and you're polluting the motherfucking planet. Okay, so we have to learn to transmute that stuff. I see a lot of posts about that are now coming out with, like, you know, the truth that's coming out with all of the Illuminati shit and whatever not, and now they like trigger words and whatever. But still, the point is, we all have had to clear. If you have not cleared the shit that has come through your bloodline from these curses and this level of like contracts and Akashic contracts and karmic contracts and soul, you know, reincarnation shit, that's work to do right now. Okay, this is the stuff that you want to get clear of. You want to get clear of the cycles of reincarnations where the energy gets actually like looped through and used for these negative purposes, which is the stuff that's happening in Hollywood. Does that make sense? Like, it's all kind of coming together, hopefully. As we have a black helicopter driving above us. It's always just fun. So we have here in Utah, there's two. Something is happening. So here in Utah, you guys, we have Kennecott Mine. They do a lot. It's a copper mine. Copper is a conductor. Copper like conducts electricity. They do a lot. They have three. I'm going to show you guys. Something's going on. Look. Where do I turn? Look at that. We have three black helicopters. So things are happening. And over there. Oh, we have four. Jesus, what is going on? Maybe there's more. I'm going to put my phone down, because my car drives itself, but we want to also make sure that we drive. See, there's another one right there. But over the mountains, there's a mine. So now you get to look at my AC for a second. Hold up. Okay, here we are. So there's, yeah, oh my God. There's like a ton. Something is definitely happening. Remember all the dragons and angels that I shared about in my story like 2 nights ago? Right? Things are happening in our skies. Then you see something like this, you see where they're heading and what they're doing, and we also have military bases here, and you're like, okay, we have to start putting together the shit that's like the physical stuff that we see like this and the stuff that we feel, because it's not disconnected, it's all connected. Okay, so things are happening. But yeah, we have Kennecott. They do a lot of like genetic experiments and like crazy underground, unknown, untalked about shit. So yeah, point being, going back to our point, always going back to the point, yeah, we've been having helicopters here too. Oh my gosh, see? So something is happening. There's a lot of shit that's unraveling. And so when we put things together and then you go and tune into the frequencies of what's happening underground in New Earth. So yesterday I started feeling like there are layers crumbling. I want to talk to you about this tonight, but maybe I'll just begin to mention it right now because I wanted to be more focused talking about it. The layers of densities are crumbling. By the time we get to the solstice, okay, everybody has to be on 12D gridding. Like, you have to. If you're not, like, everything is getting like, it's like as soon as you get to the next density, the next dimension, the next layer of the grid, it's like you can't really hold your breath or wait or hang out. You have to keep moving forward. It's like the stairs are crumbling as soon as you make the jump. The only place where you're going to be like, oh my God, I have arrived, is where you hit 12. Okay. And that reset is coming between December 21st and January. There's a date in January 2021. I can't remember, but that's when it's going to shift. And the whole new thing is going to open up. So beyond 12. And we have a whole slew of new frequencies to integrate because we have to continue activating our DNA. Our strands have to keep coming online because we have to get them all 12 working, plugged in, activated, functional, right? So we've been doing the ethereal work and we've been doing some of the physical plugging, but it has to continue. So this is what's happening. And that's why we have to get cleaner on the inside. So the precursor to this conversation is stop the madness of the judging of the things that are happening in the world because you're just... Whoa, you're not even just hurting yourself, you're hurting the planet. Like, you're hurting everybody, right? And so it's just, we have to not judge. And you know how that's like one of the commandments? We're going back to the Bible. Thou shalt not judge, because thou dost not knoweth, or whatever. I just made that up. But in any case, like, we don't know. We don't know. Like, what would you do if there was a threat made on your children's life and you had to do something that is morally wrong? What would you do, right? Like, so these are the things that people get faced with that we don't understand. That's why people talk, they say something, and then the next day, like, it's real life. Like, they say something, and and the next day somebody gets shot. Oh, they were found dead. Randomly in Hollywood, they said something, and then they were found dead, right? Like, it happens all the time. Or they disappear, or nobody hears about it anymore. Like, we have to start looking at our world from a removed perspective, like witnessing what is happening from a grander scale, because these people are not playing. Right? Kind of like, if you watch the video, there's a video that I shared last night that recaps a lot of events that have happened, and how in the moment that, and we're gonna go here too, this video, we're really hitting a lot of a lot of subjects and a lot of words. When Trump was talking about went to the economic summit, whatever, like the World Trade, and he basically, because he is such an asshole that he's like he says things like an asshole, and it works, right? So he's actually doing a lot of good works. Like, we all are understanding this, that even though he's an asshole and he has his own personal bullshit, like everybody does, right? He actually doesn't give a shit about the globalists, which are the people that have the money, which are the bankers and the, all of those, the medical systems, basically the people, the families that are ruling the planet. He's so much of an ass that he really can't be bought, and so he doesn't give a shit. So he's like, fuck you, whatever, I have my own money, I have my own shit, and I see what's going on, and this is what needs to happen. He may have a shitty way of doing the things, but at least he's getting them done, right? So we, obviously are beginning to see he's playing the long game to unravel this stuff. So he goes to the economic summit, and he talks about leaders of great countries need to understand where they're being, this is not a world that belongs to the globalists. This is a world that belongs to the patriots, right? He says that. He says all these other things. He basically tells everybody that's threatening him and the U.S. to fuck off. And then 2 days later, we have coronavirus, right? So this is literally the shit it got unleashed. Do you think that's coincidence, right? So they're playing a game that we are caught in the middle of. We're just in the middle of the field, but this is a much more higher level game. And so if we keep looking at it in a reactive way, like, me and my little baby world, and it's like we continue to be inundating the frequency waves with feelings, emotions, and energy that is not supportive of the frequencies of New Earth. So our job, right, because we're not in Congress and we're not the president of any country, like, we are not, in those positions, and thank God, because God, they have to deal with so much shit. But anyways, they get so many threats on their life all the time. Like, a lot of people are like, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Because it's not them. They're just puppets. They're owned by all the people behind the scenes. And if you don't understand this concept, go watch Transformers. The one with the brunette chick, whatever it's called, where our hero guy, whatever his name is, right? The guy with oh man, I'm really sucking on my Marvel Transformers right now. Wait, is that Marvel? Maybe that's not Marvel. It's the other one. But the point is, the kid who's the hero of the movie, okay, he has a girlfriend. Some of the first section of these movies was when he had a brunette girlfriend, and then he gets a blonde girlfriend. It's the first one, I think, where he has the blonde girlfriend. She is working for a family that's invested and basically has to deal with the people that own the world and rule the planet, and it just shows. It really shows, and it's very it's very much done in a way that explains what actually happens behind the scenes. And people don't realize it, but they've just been playing the game. So there's families on the other side whose children have been born into this crazy, you own the world, you rule the world, these are the things that must be done, and they live in fear and terror because, that's a whole other side of life. And these are the people that push the buttons on all of our politicians and, all of that. So they're just really puppets that get like played with and tinkered with, and then, they get paid so that they shut up and they do things that are like absolutely immoral, and, they buy with money because that's what happens. Which is the only reason why money gets a bad rep. When money is a resource that we can use for good things in this world, and it needs to be used for good things. This is why we are appropriating it, right? Light workers like calling it in on our side of the fence, like it's our ball now, motherfuckers. We need to do the good things with the planet, and that's what I stand for, and you know this. So, if we don't do our work, so the long bottom line of this is that we have to do our work. If we're not in charge of our feelings and our emotions, and we sit there and we look at what happens in the world and we're like, oh my God, this is happening now, fuck. And then you like go into something to hate, something to blame, something to like feel shitty about, like something to hurt for, not helping the planet ascend. Okay, what you want to do is look at it and say, holy motherfucking shit, people have been doing this on the planet. I can't even fucking believe how horrible, certain people's consciousness have gotten. I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to take charge of my feelings. I'm going to cry it out. I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to transmute this shit, and I'm going to emit a frequency that helps to heal the planet, right? That's what you want to do. That's taking power. That's claiming your power. That's actually getting in charge of your feelings and helping. The best possible thing that you can do, no matter what you do for work, no matter what you do in your life, like no matter what you do, is to hold peace and love and truth in your heart and expand it and share it and like beam it out, literally. Like you're a frequency emitter. That's what you want to do. That's what, at the grocery store, in places where everybody's wearing a mask and is like so pissed off, or places that people are happily wearing a mask because they don't understand what the hell is going on. Either way, right, you want to make that frequency available to people, because whether they realize it or not, as you're out there blasting, this light from your heart and beaming it out and making it available, it's like they can catch it, right? We're used to saying, oh, they caught the flu, right? Or like they contracted this disease or whatever. Clearly it's the same thing. So they can catch, a frequency. They can catch a good thing. They can catch, wait, where am I exiting? I need to look at the road really quick. But they can catch your vibe, and then they can work with it. Like they can just kind of like, if I can describe to you what it looks like energetically, it's almost like they are somewhere, whether it's conscious or subconscious, right? They pick it up, and this frequency kind of hangs out in their aura. So your aura is your ecosystem. It's the energy all around you where things happen and they interchange and interface. This is your immune system. This is like, how you perceive reality. It all goes through the field of energy around you. So it's like the frequency is able to like hang out, like it sparks something in their aura, and then all of a sudden they have this light available in their aura. So when they go home and they're like, whatever, this is a hard day, maybe instead of like turning on the news, they decide to, I don't know, listen to an inspiring podcast, or maybe meditate, or maybe like do something like, put their feet in the ground and like feel, something like that, like actually. So this is how we help each other out. It doesn't have to be in words, right? So that's the job. And it all starts with non-judgment. But until we can look at things and process very fast through these feelings of judgments that we have because we're human, we're having a human experience. When I say we're human, that's what I mean, because you guys know where I stand with that. But this is our exit. Hold, please. We get better at that. We get better at looking at the bigger picture. And the more you shift your perspective, the more you do this work, you do the work, you gain this like more eternal perspective. And then you look at things and you can shift out of, like, it becomes easier. You can shift out of judgment, you can shift out of hurt, you can shift out of wounded consciousness. Like, you actually can move yourself and weave yourself through dimensions, through feelings, and and so on and so forth. But begin to practice. And at first, instead of maybe like non-judgment, may be really hard, especially with some of the things that are coming up right now, but you can process it, you can work with yourself, you can transmute it, okay? And that's our job. So apply your skills. And most of all, you guys, when something hits you that is a shitty thing, that is like hard, and it makes you feel bad inside, right? Because some things hit, and then you're like, generally there's a processing of it, but sometimes it just goes right to your core and you're just like, oh, that is horrible, right? Don't hang on to it and like ignore it and, put it under the rug, pretend like it didn't happen and not deal with it. That's the unhealthiest thing you could possibly do. What you want to do is look at it, feel it out. It fucking sucks, but you have to process it, okay? That's how we get in charge of our shit. That's how we clean up the planet. The reason why all of this shit show of things can hang out and can live on the planet is because our emotions and our like emotional pollution into the collective unconscious, all of our bad thoughts, all of our hate thoughts, all of our, envy thoughts, all of our whatever, like anger thoughts, like the lower emotions. Ooh, you guys turned with the thing. But all of our lower emotions, they all go and make a web, and they go in the collective unconscious. Like, they seed the planet with lower vibrational feelings. So anytime we choose higher feelings, we can process through, we shift out, we choose again, we go higher, we transmute, we come from a higher place, we forgive, we get ourselves in positive emotions. These are the feelings that are building and that are giving power to the new earth grid. This is what we want to do. This is how we do this, right? Because this is how it's going to play out. Once the new earth grid has enough consciousness, positive feelings, positive vibration attached to it, it will literally be the prevalent state of being. Right now, the prevalent state of being in our world is fear, but it's starting to shift, right? Which is why they're doing everything that they can to keep the people in fear. Because if they keep you in fear and you're feeling these like low vibrational feelings and it sucks and everything is like yucky on the inside, then you're seeding the old world stuff. But when you're actually like transmuting it, when you're not engaging in it, when you're staying up here, when you're choosing again, when you're raising yourself up, then you're seeding the new earth. Once we have more people on the higher grid, this shit show is done. There's no more power for it. Like, there's nothing. It's like, it's done, right? And they won't be able to, because everybody will see through these things. And so it will be like, no, you can't. But in the meantime that we do this, you do understand that there's a lot of people losing jobs. There's a lot of companies, like there's a big economical shift. This is why, you have to get started on whatever it is that you need to do on your new earth business, okay? So it's kind of like, in case you procrastinated and you know that you have gifts to offer to the world, it's like the planetary consciousness is like, you gotta hurry up, babe. Like, you got to hurry the fuck up, because you can't depend on these huge companies anymore. Plus, now you know what they stand for, right? So it's kind of shitty to work for people like that. So you gotta start working for yourself, right? And I'm just calling it like it is, but this is the reason why I have things like, Goddess on Mission, God. And then I have these conversations and I'm like, shit, maybe we need to reopen it again. But I need to take a pause. But the point is, whoa, hello, bus. The point is, you have got to do the thing that you've been waiting to do, because the time is now, and you want to get that shit done, okay, before Christmas. I'm giving you a timeline that's like very solid. You're gonna be so happy that you started your own thing, because when we go through another wave of crumbling shit show, you're gonna be like, I know what I gotta do. That's the most important thing, is that you know what you have to do, and you know how to provide for yourself and the resources that you have to provide for you and for your family, that you don't depend on other people that are doing bad shit on the planet. So we're trying to, and trying is a word that I don't like to use, but I'm using it right now because we're like disengaging consciousness from all of these bigger things. You know, the other day I was talking with Henry and I was like, who is going to come up with an alternative for Amazon? I feel like we need a new earth alternative for Amazon. So let's like put this out there, okay? Everybody on the same page. And Henry's like, well, logistically, they have, you know, they're kind of this monopoly and they've positioned themselves like this. And I was like, I believe there will always be people that have funds available that see this stuff. It takes another person like a Trump, right? That doesn't give a shit and that has the money and the power to say, you know what? Bezos should probably have a rival. Like, we should probably come up with a new earth Amazon, you know, type thing. Somebody that has, you know, that kind of cash that can make that kind of investment and that has the resources, why the hell not? I believe all things are possible, right? So like, we need to look at the things that we like on, you know, in the world, and we need to begin to migrate them over, to shift them over, right? To give it a possibility that yes, people with a shit ton of money that want to do good things on the planet do exist, right? And let's like help each other out, like find and just mentally see the possibility that these things can happen. So this is kind of the stuff. Since I'm stopped at a light, I'm looking at you guys, what you guys are saying. Yes, please. So glad to be working for a private company. Yeah. So that's the thing, like have something. This is almost kind of what I see it, right? And this is the work that we do in Goddess on Mission and God's on Mission, those of you that are in there and those of you that are planning on it next year or, you know, whatever. But it's like, if everything was to fail in the world, not that we want to go there, but it's like, what would you offer? What would you offer, right? What is the thing that people come to you the most with? And what would you offer? And what would you offer in exchange for something else? So, you know, that's the stuff that you know you can rely on you for. Everybody has talents. Everybody has gifts. So if we were to go back to like a barter system, what would be your trade? What would be your skills? What would be your superpowers, right? Like, how do we all help each other out? And so in the moment right now, while we have money and, you know, like money as a currency and this is how we're exchanging, like we're doing a lot of this, but we're also doing a lot of traded, you know, things and events, whatever not. But and you can start that way. A lot of times it's easier to start like trading things, like trading like skills for skills, an hour of my time for an hour of your time, or like this thing that I created for this thing that you created, right? But start to use your gifts and your abilities, because this is the stuff that, like, when all else fails, what are you going to do for work, right? And I know it's a little harsh, but I am going to start like putting it in your mind so that you can start to think that way. Because yes, you know, probably the bigger conglomerate companies will end up sticking around, but wouldn't you feel so much better doing something that you know is helping, you know, the world? Like, I'm sure that we can always get, you know, 9-to-5 jobs or whatever, like corporate America jobs, but we just don't know. So how do you feel good about relying on yourself? What do you feel good about doing? How do you feel good about showing up in the world and helping everyone else? Like, if you could do anything on New Earth, what would that be, right? So I love you. I am almost at my dentist, so send me love. We have cavities. Oh my gosh. I'm like, how did I manifest cavities? I don't know. Maybe I just need to go hang out with my dentist. But we're going to do this. So next time I talk to you, my mouth may be completely numb. We don't know what's going on. But I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And I will publish this. I love you, and I'll see you tonight. Hopefully tonight we'll do a thing with Gary. I don't know. I saw the votes and I'll have to share. But what's going on with Nasara and Jasara? So that's something that Trump is working on. I don't think it's going to get... a lot of people are... The basic function of that agreement of Nasara and Jasara has to do with the fact that the government steals money from the people every year, okay? And in the moment, part of the American Constitution is that in the moment that the banking system overrules and does shit where, you know, they're scheming, let's just wrap it in a word, then that's not in the best interest of the American people, and therefore, there's just a lot of shit gets undone when it comes to taxes and financial system and all of that. And so if they can prove and show without people dying, because they always get, you know, killed and threatened and whatever, not when they're like on the verge of, you know, talking about it, that this Nasara and Jasara is why 9/11 happened. If you do your research, you'll find it out, okay? Because it was about to be instated on that day, and instead they have plans. They have plans on standby. Oh, that was it. I kind of missed it. They have plans on standby where they can just, let's deploy this, you know? It's like the shit that we see in the movies, except it's real life. Okay, I love you guys. I am officially in the parking lot of my dentist. So I send you lots of love. Remember to feel the good feelings in your heart and beam them out to the world, because our world needs it. And we'll do something soon. And sorry for the headaches. I love you. Mwah.